Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you tonight. Microsoft bags OpenAI co-founder Sam Altman days after he was sacked as CEO. Nadella tweets that Altman, along with the other co-founder Gary Brockman, will lead Microsoft's artificial intelligence team. Reports suggest Altman may be Microsoft's nominee to the OpenAI board. Meanwhile, OpenAI taps former Twitch chief executive Emmett Shear to succeed Sam Altman as CEO. OpenAI's third CEO in 3 days sets out a 30-day agenda, promises an independent investigation into what happened at the company, says he will also change the company's governance practices and reform the management and leadership teams. Operations to rescue the 41 construction workers trapped in a collapsed tunnel in Uttarakhand continue for the 9th day. Multiple agencies have been pushed into play as 5 different approaches are being implemented simultaneously to expedite the rescue. Officials say it could take another 4 to 5 days. Dixon Technologies says qualifying for the IT hardware PLI scheme will help it deliver a cumulative production value of 48,000 crore rupees over 6 years starting FY25. Dixon is among 27 companies, including Foxconn, Dell and HP, to get approval for the scheme. Israel and Hamas inch closer to a US broker deal which is likely to free dozens of hostages captured by Hamas in exchange for a ceasefire in Gaza. But the Israeli military continues to expand its operations in the region, including laying siege to another hospital. Arab nations urge China to build pressure on Israel to end its military operations in Gaza, call for an immediate ceasefire, the delivery of humanitarian aid to the region as well, and a push for lasting, comprehensive peace. China says Israel should stop the collective punishment of the people of Gaza. The governments of Tamil Nadu and Kerala moved the Supreme Court against their governors for delaying assent to bills cleared by the legislature. The apex court issues a notice to the Kerala governor Arif Mohammed Khan, also questions the Tamil Nadu governor's delay in disposing bills pending since January of 2020. US Ambassador to India Eric Garcetti says the pause in the trade pillar of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework is not permanent, adds a temporary suspension of negotiation is to address issues raised by other IPEF partners. After intense negotiations, the UK government reaches a deal with global pharma companies to pay less for innovative drugs. The deal will gradually double the government's bill for branded drugs to 4% from 2027, but result in the UK saving about £14 billion in rebates over the next 5 years. Australia breaks 1 billion hearts as it defeats India in the ICC Men's World Cup final to lift the trophy for the 6th time. Travis Head named man of the match, Virat Kohli player of the tournament. All of that and more in just a bit. But first up, as always, let's take a look at the action in the Indian stock markets. Well, overnight heartbreak resulting in a day of range-bound trade on the Lal Street as well. So we saw the Nifty and the sensex ending close to 0.25% in the red as financials and bank stocks dragged the markets lower. However, the broader markets did do better than the benchmarks. The mid-cap index, by the way, hit a new record high intraday to cross 42,000. That's the story. Absolutely flat on the Nifty and the sensex. The Nifty bank just about in positive territory. And that's the story on the mid-cap 100. The big global pot boiler, OpenAI's loss has been Microsoft's gain, and Satya Nadella has not let the opportunity pass. Microsoft has roped in Sam Altman, the founder and former CEO of OpenAI, to lead its new advanced AI research team. Now, Altman will be joined there by OpenAI co-founder Greg Brockman, who also left following Altman's ouster. Now, for Altman, a tumultuous weekend has ended in a sort of counter-coup, as there is speculation that he could get a board seat at OpenAI after all. Rachna Dhanrajani recounts the boardroom drama that's taken the world of artificial intelligence by storm and how the chips have fallen.
Sam Altman, the poster boy of generative artificial intelligence, has had a weekend he won't forget. It began with a surprise sacking from his post as CEO of OpenAI, a company he founded in 2015. The board statement read, and I quote, "Mr. Altman's departure follows a deliberative review process by the board, which concluded that he was not consistently candid in his communications with the board, hindering its ability to exercise its responsibilities. The board no longer has confidence in his ability to continue leading OpenAI." End quote. The board also appointed Albanian engineer Mira Murati, who had been serving as Chief Technology Officer, as the interim CEO. and less than 24 hours later confirmed former Twitch CEO Emmett Shear as Altman's permanent successor. Shear has wasted no time in setting out a three-point plan as a part of his 30-day agenda. These include an independent investigation to dig into the entire process that has led OpenAI to this point and reform the management and leadership team in light of recent departures. His tweet goes on to say, "Depending on the results, everything we learn from these, I will drive changes in the organization up to and including pushing strongly for significant governance changes if necessary. I will be rolling these out as they become clear over the 30-day period." Shear's appointment effectively shuts down buzz that Altman was being quoted to rejoin OpenAI, buzz that had already been dampened by Altman tweeting a picture of himself at the OpenAI headquarters wearing a visitor's badge, saying this would never happen again. Microsoft's Satya Nadella, however, has been quick to pounce on the opportunity this churn has created, an exercise, incidentally, that caught Microsoft, which is itself a large investor in OpenAI, by surprise. Microsoft has hired Altman and OpenAI co-founder Greg Brockman, who also quit following Altman's ouster, to lead its newly formed advanced AI research team and deepen its association with OpenAI. Nadella's tweet reads, "We remain committed to our partnership with OpenAI and have confidence in our product roadmap, our ability to continue to innovate with everything we announced at Microsoft Ignite, and in continuing to support our customers and partners. We look forward to getting to know Emmett Shear and OpenAI's new leadership team and working with them." Since this episode at OpenAI began playing out, the tech world has been buzzing with reports that Microsoft may push for a seat on the OpenAI board given its large investment in the company. There's also speculation that should Microsoft get a board seat, it may nominate Altman himself as its representative, which would prove to be quite the counter coup by Altman, even though a nominee seat may not hold the influence that Altman has enjoyed previously as the CEO. In Mumbai, I'm Rachna Dhanrajani.
Well, the twists and turns in that pot boiler, but we're not done just yet. It looks like there could be more developments in that story. They're changing with every passing minute. Back home, Foxconn, Dell, HP, Dixon and Lenovo are among the 27 companies that have been granted approvals under the centre's renewed 17,000 crore rupee production-linked incentive scheme for IT hardware. IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said the scheme will lead to additional production of 3.5 lakh crore rupees and could generate direct employment for 50,000 people. Speaking with CNBC TV18, Dixon CFO Saurabh Gupta says the company is committed to meeting a cumulative production value of 48,000 crore rupees over 6 years starting next fiscal. He also said that they were confident the scheme would help India become a global IT hardware manufacturing hub over the next 2 to 3 years. Take a look.
I think this is the kind of support that we were looking for, and over a period of time we feel confident that one, we'll be able to meet the requirements of the large domestic Indian market, which is presently being serviced through imports, but over a period of 2-3 years I think so India can potentially become a hub for global markets as well.
Well, that's Dixon on getting the PLI license for IT hardware. Now, the pause on trade talks in the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework is not permanent. That's the word in from US Ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti. Speaking after the recently concluded India-US 2+2 dialogue, the US Ambassador to India said the temporary suspension is to address the issues that have been raised by other IPEF partners. Here's Garcetti.
For trade, yeah, that's not a permanent pause of any sort. I think that's a momentary one. And we've been in regular communication. Whether it's here with tariff barriers that make it very difficult for foreign direct investment to come in, even when it's fleeing places like China to India, where they're seen as too many barriers, and if you can't bring things in, you can't make things to export out. And so there's a lot of talk around that trade, but it's not, that is not some sort of permanent pause. I think it's a temporary one around some issues that have to be worked out with some of the IPEF partners.
Well, that's the US Ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti. And here's more on dialogue. The India-Australia 2+2 dialogue. Australian Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles, who also holds a defence portfolio, met with Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in the capital today. Both ministers underscoring the importance to further enhance cooperation in information exchange and maritime domain awareness between the two sides. The Enforcement Directorate has filed a charge sheet against consumer retail company Amway India and its directors in an alleged money laundering case. Now, the charge sheet highlights that Amway generated over 4,050 crore rupees by operating what the agencies believe is an illegal money circulation scheme. Amway said the complaint filed by the Enforcement Directorate pertains to an investigation that goes back to 2011. The union government is likely to announce measures to reduce tax-related litigation in the upcoming budget. Sources say the appeal unit of the Income Tax Department has been asked to resolve all cases pending as on the 1st of April that involve a demand of 50 crore rupees and above. Now, the department has also made it mandatory for all appeals filed before April 2020 to be disposed if the demand is above 10 lakh rupees. Citigroup may soon announce job cuts and senior management changes as part of its biggest reorganization in decades. Now, this as per reports which say that employees are waiting for clarity on the scale of the layoffs. Those impacted will include chiefs of staff and managing directors. Citigroup has declined to comment on the matter for now. Ola Cab CEO Bhavish Agarwal has confirmed the company is in collaboration with government-backed e-commerce platform ONDC. Sources have told CNBC TV18 that Ola Cabs is likely to deploy e-scooters for the platform. Sources say Ola is likely to provide last-mile delivery services to buyers and sellers on ONDC. Well, the continuing coverage of the Israel-Hamas war, which has now entered its 7th week. Nearly 13,000 Palestinians have been killed since the war broke out on the 7th of October. Israeli tanks surrounded a hospital funded by the Indonesian organization in northern Gaza after at least 12 people were killed following direct attacks by the Israel army. Reports suggest that Israeli forces have been shooting people who are trying to escape the hospital, which is currently sheltering more than 6,000 patients. Medics have also evacuated more than 20 babies from the Al-Shifa hospital to Egypt. Reports suggest the Israeli military is expanding its operations in the Gaza Strip and have warned refugees in the Jabalia camp to evacuate. Meanwhile, leaders of Arab and other Islamic nations have called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. During their visit to Beijing, the leaders have pushed for an end to the hostilities and to allow humanitarian aid into Gaza. Yemen's Houthi rebels have said that they've seized an Israeli cargo ship in the Red Sea. The group's spokesperson said they will continue to carry out military operations against Israel until Israel stops the aggression in Gaza and the West Bank. Israel has said it has nothing to do with the ship and that it was a British-owned and Japanese-operated cargo ship. It's also described the incident as an Iranian act of terrorism with consequences for international maritime security. Back home, Tamil Nadu and the Kerala governments have moved the Supreme Court against their governors for delaying assent to bills cleared by the legislature. Now, the Supreme Court has questioned the Tamil Nadu governor's delay in approving bills that have been pending since January of 2020. The court has also issued a notice to the governor of Kerala. Ashmit joins us now with the details. Ashmit, take us through what the Apex Court has said. It has previously also expressed concerns about the manner in which governors have not been providing approval to bills cleared by the legislature.
Indeed, in fact, at one point, the CJI, Justice Chandrachud, remarked at the Attorney General that if the various state governments would be required to move the Supreme Court every time they want the governors to be set in motion with respect to granting assent to the bills in question. Here's the context. 3 governments had moved the Apex Court: Punjab, Kerala, as well as Tamil Nadu. So far as the Punjab government is concerned, that is the case in which the Supreme Court has given its judgment. That judgment came on November 10th, and in that judgment, the Supreme Court had prodded the Punjab governor towards taking decisions on these bills that have been vetted by the Assembly, but also importantly had noted that, look, as far as the governor's role is concerned, once the bill is sent back twice by the State Assembly, in that case, there is no room for discretion. The governor has to grant his assent. It is basis that judgment that today we had the Tamil Nadu government as well as the Kerala government arguing before the Apex Court. The Tamil Nadu government said that, look, we have 15 bills that are pending. The Kerala government said we have 8 bills that are pending. The Tamil Nadu councils went on to say that some of these bills have been sent back twice, that the governor decided to act only after the Supreme Court had given its judgment in the November 10th Punjab government case, and raised the larger question that if the governor can sit indefinitely on these bills. And these are some of the words that echoed with the Chief Justice himself. He asked the Attorney General if there are provisions in the Constitution that allow for the governor to not take a decision and sit simpliciter on a bill indefinitely. Also asking whether what has been the governor been doing with respect to these bills, especially since there are some bills pending as far back as 2020, January of 2020. And these are some questions that one understands the Centre, the Attorney General, the governors will have to come back with a response on. November 24th, which is later this week on Friday, the Kerala government application will be heard. And on November 29th, the Supreme Court has said that it will watch the conduct of the governor and resume hearing in the Tamil Nadu case on November 29th.
All right, Ashmit, we will continue to track the story. Many thanks for joining us. Up next on India Business Hour, operations to rescue the 41 construction workers trapped in a collapsed tunnel in Uttarakhand continue for the 9th day. That and more coming up. You can catch all of CNBC TV18's news and updates on WhatsApp, Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. Well, here's the latest on the rescue operations underway at the Uttarkashi tunnel. A 57-metre-long pipe has been set up to supply food for the 41 workers who are trapped inside the Uttarkashi tunnel for the past 9 days now. Desperate efforts are underway to drill through the debris. The Indian Army, the Border Road Organisation and the DRDO have joined hands in the rescue operations. Arnold Dix, an international tunnelling expert, has reached the site this morning to guide authorities in the rescue operations. Authorities are working on a 5-point plan to try and rescue the trapped workers. Our colleague Anshul Singh has been getting us the updates on the rescue efforts. Here's his latest report on the progress that's been made so far.
Finally, after 9 daunting days, the first piece of good news has come up from the Silkyara tunnel. Today, the rescuers were able to drill through a 6-inch lifeline pipe through the debris. This is for the first time over the last 9 days, in fact, that the rescue pipe or the lifeline pipe has been able to drill through the debris, and for the first time, the rescuers have been able to get towards the other side. Now, this lifeline pipe that has been inserted, it is, as its name suggests, going to be a lifeline for all the 41 workers who are stranded inside for the last 9 days. Remember, through this pipe, for the first time now, solid food would be sent in to the people who are stuck inside. Along with that solid pipe, it is expected that the first video communication link would be established between the rescuers and the workers. Not only this, but this pipe will also mean that the communication channel between the workers and the rescuers, which was till now very temporary and which had only one source to get through, will now have another weatherproof source. This is being seen as one of the biggest successes of the entire rescue team over the last 9 days. Now, what is going to happen next? The next few days are going to be very, very interesting, because now the morale of the workers are definitely very, very high. And in fact, the morale of the people on the other side is now getting higher again, because remember, although regular communications were happening between them, but still this is for the first time they now realize that something could actually go through this debris.
Well, our colleague Anshul there reporting from the site of the collapsed tunnel. The air quality index in the National Capital Region continues to remain in the very poor category. However, all government and private schools in Delhi have now resumed classes. The government has also lifted ban on certain construction activities. Restrictions on activities prone to dust pollution, however, continue. Prime Minister Modi addressed rallies in 3 districts in Rajasthan today. Speaking at a rally, the Prime Minister said the party will review petrol prices if it wins in the state. The Prime Minister will conclude his campaign with a roadshow in the state's capital of Jaipur.
पड़ोस में गुजरात है, उसका पेट्रोल का दाम देख लीजिए। पड़ोस में हरियाणा है, उसका पेट्रोल का दाम देख लीजिए। ये तीनों राज्य राजस्थान के अगल बगल में हैं और तीनों राज्य में भाजपा की सरकार है। आपको यहां जो पेट्रोल डीजल का भाव पैसा देना पड़ता है, वहां उससे 12-13 रुपया कम है। यहां आपको 12-13 रुपया लीटर पर ज्यादा देना पड़ता है। यहां जब भाजपा की सरकार बनेगी, ये पेट्रोल के दामों की कीमतों की समीक्षा होगी।
Well, the Prime Minister in Rajasthan, law enforcement agencies have seized drugs, cash, liquor and precious metal worth over 1,700 crore rupees from the 5 states where state elections are underway. The Election Commission has said that this figure is 7 times higher than what was seized in 2018. The Indian Air Force scrambled a Rafale fighter jet to search for an unidentified object that was spotted in the skies near the Imphal airport. The UFO was sighted around 2:30 p.m., after which a few commercial flights were impacted. The fighter jet, equipped with advanced sensors, carried out low-level flying over the suspected area to look for the UFO, but so far there has been no evidence of any UFO that was spotted. After intense negotiations, the UK's NHS has reached a deal with global pharma companies to pay less for innovative drugs. The deal will also introduce a new affordability mechanism for older medicines. This agreement will come into force in 2024. The deal will gradually double the government's bill for branded drugs to 4% from 2027, but result in the UK saving around £14 billion in rebates over the next 5 years. Far-right leader Javier Milei has been elected as the president of Argentina. Milei, who has vowed to exterminate inflation, has secured over 55% of the votes compared to his rival Sergio Massa. A TV celebrity turned politician, Milei has promised drastic measures to tackle Argentina's economic problems, and this includes replacing the battered peso with the US dollar and shutting down the central bank. Prime Minister Modi wrote on X that he was looking forward to working closely with Milei to diversify and expand the Indian-Argentinian strategic partnership. Ukraine's medical military system has seen a rejig amidst the ongoing war with Russia. President Zelensky has replaced Major General Tatiana Ostashenko, who was responsible for the armed forces' medical needs, with a new Major General. The move came after Zelensky met the defense minister to understand the challenges of the army. Defending the decision, Zelensky said Ukraine needs new combat-level medical support for soldiers. Diamond prices are falling across the country, and that's got gold-loving consumers in South India making a beeline for the precious stone. Jude Sunnett reports that with diamonds seeing pride of place in traditional jewellery designs, diamond retailers are not too worried about falling prices.
Falling prices may have made it a dull year for the diamond trade, but there's a noticeable glimmer of hope. The precious stone is being rapidly adopted by jewellery buyers in South India, and this is making up for the fall in prices. De Beers Forever Mark expects a 20 to 25% overall growth in sales this festive season, supported mainly by demand from markets like Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Chennai. A newly emerging consumer base is also helping.
In terms of sales, South contributes close to 45 to 50% of our total volume. And that's primarily because South of India loves to buy a better quality product. When it comes to diamond, they go for better color, cut, clarity. And there is no doubt the gold demand continues to be very, very strong. But when you look at the Millennium and Gen Z, that's where the diamond affinity is coming from.
Traditional diamond retailers say they're hoping to widen their customer base by selling more jewellery to younger consumers who may not buy as much as some of the more affluent ones, but are aspirational nevertheless. That's resulted in more subtle jewellery with emphasis on style as opposed to statement pieces that are made to stand out. For the moment, it's working. There's been a noticeable spike in buyers of natural diamonds, the influx of lab-grown diamonds notwithstanding. At this showroom in Chennai, 40% of sales recorded so far this fiscal have come from millennials. This explains why the latest collections on display are made up of significantly smaller stones and understated designs.
Curating a product line which was fashionable, trendy, chic and very, very appealing to the audience is the way forward according to me. And we've done that for this season.
It's this focus on mid-range consumers and subtler, fast-moving jewellery that has insulated players like Titan from the estimated 35% price correction in diamonds this festive season. But the South's new affinity for diamonds does not mean it is shying away from the lab-grown kind either. At Okera Jewellery, which opened in Bengaluru earlier this year, sales of lab-grown diamonds are going strong.
We're seeing a 20% month-on-month increase in our own grown diamond jewelry brand. The South has always appreciated high-quality diamonds, and the good thing is that Grown Diamonds beautifully delivers on something like that, because you get only the best grades of diamonds in Grown Diamonds.
But that does not mean the high rollers who make up the top end of the segment have stopped being counted, nor are traditional diamonds going out of vogue. Experts say the expanding aspirational segment means there's plenty of scope for both diamond segments to grow together. And if prices stay as low as they've been, diamonds may well become the South's
best friend. In Chennai, Jude Sanath.
Well, on that sparkling note, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Thanks very much for watching. The news continues on CNBC TV18. Stay tuned.